Hey guys, Mission Whitetail. This is our annual bow test. We've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years. A lot of great bows on the market, and over the years, the specs have gotten really close. We do this every year to see if anything stands out spec-wise, and then guys, you can make your own decision on which one you like better. This year, I've got my cheat sheet here. We're gonna be shooting a Hoyt, a Prime, and a Mathews. Those are gonna be the bows that we do in our test. And I want to run through the specs real quick. We're going to physically weigh them, then we're going to shoot them through a chronograph and get speed, and then we're going to use a decibel reader to see which one's the loudest. And those are all the things that are literally the specs of the bow, how they come out of the box. And then guys, again, personal preference, you can go in and see which bow you like, shoot them, but this will cut out all the noise that's out there, and you can really know exactly what the specs are for each one of these bows and then make your own decision. So to start with, we're gonna go with the Hoyt Alpha X. It's a 30-inch axle to axle with a brace height of 6 3/8 inches. Next is the Prime, and that is the RVX 32. And the brace height of that is 6 1/4 inches. And then we'll finish it with the Mathews Lift, 29.5-inch axle to axle with a brace height of 6 inches. The weights are all set. Shane at Jeffrey's Archery set these things up perfect. 70.2 pounds, they're all equal in weight. All of them set at 29-inch draw length. 85% let off, and then the arrows we're shooting are 440 grains, which is a decent weight for whitetail hunting. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is actually get a physical weight. This is out of the box, exactly like the bow comes. We've only added a whisker biscuit to it, so that's the only thing that's been added. First up will be the Hoyt. All right, so the Hoyt, five pounds. All right. Next up is the Prime. I got to reset it. There we go. It's fluctuating between 4.5 and 4.6. 4.5 is where it ended. That's the Prime. And then the Mathews Lift. Wow. .1. So the Lift is definitely the lightest bow. All right, next up we're going to do our shooting. Again, the arrows are 440 grains. We're going to start with the Hoyt. All right, first up is the Hoyt. We're going to shoot 3 arrows. Man, that is a smooth drawing bow. .285. Second arrow out of the Hoyt. .287. .287. All right, next up, we got the Prime. .283. .283. .285. All right, last up for the speed test is the Mathews Lift. .293. .292. .292. All right, so we've done the speed test, and it kind of goes Mathews, Hoyt, Prime with the speed. Draw cycles is 100% personal preference. I really like the draw cycle of the Prime and the Hoyt. They're kind of neck and neck. The Lift, the draw cycle was good, but it feels a little bit jumpy on the back wall. But man, it is definitely the lightest bow, and I don't know, we'll have to look at the specs, but I think it's about 10 feet per second faster. And now we'll take the bows over to the shop and do a sound test to see which one's shooting the quietest. All right guys, we're back at the shop. Gonna do our sound test. Got our decibel reader set up. It's gonna stay in the exact same spot. Got my foot, got a mark for that, so I won't be moving anything. We'll get a real apples to apples comparison on how loud these bows are. Shooting into hay, so it won't be the air impact. We're also doing it outside this year, so it's a little more realistic, you know, being out in the woods or outside. We've always done them inside in the past, and I think that's made the bows appear a little bit louder than they are. So 3 arrows, starting with the Hoyt. .87. Second arrow with the Hoyt. .87.3. .85.9. All right, that's it with the Hoyt. Now we will start with the Prime will be next. All right, next up we got the Prime. Gonna shoot 3 arrows out of that. 84.8. 84.5. 86.2. All right, that's it for the Prime. All right, last is the Mathews Lift. Check the sound on it. 83.7. 85.7. 85.1. All right guys, that's the sound test. We're gonna break all these numbers down in the office here, go through it, and give you some feedback on what I thought after this test. But that again is apples to apples, out of the box. Only thing added was a whisker biscuit. Everything else is exactly the same. Now the brace heights are different, obviously, in all 3 bows. Axle to axle is different in all 3 bows. Specs are pretty close. It seems like the Lift was the lightest bow and the fastest bow. We'll have to see what on the sound, but we'll break all that down in the office. But hope this is helpful, guys. It sure is for us. It's gonna help us in our decision on what we're gonna take this year bow-wise. All right, guys, we're concluding the 2024 bow test and got all the numbers here. We're gonna share those in a spreadsheet. There'll be a screen that'll pop up with all the numbers, and you can pause the video and look at all of them if you want. But basically, the Mathews Lift was the quietest and the fastest and the lightest bow. Real quick, I'll start with the Hoyt. The average speed of the 3 shots was 286.33. The decibel reading was 87 on the Hoyt, so the Hoyt was the loudest and the second fastest. The Prime was 283.66, so it was the slowest in the test, and it was the second quietest at 85.16 decibels. And then the Lift, it was the lightest bow, the fastest bow at 292.33, and then it was the quietest at 84.83. So guys, again, it's gonna come down to, if you want the highest specs, then you're probably gonna wanna look at the Lift. Now, I will say this about the Lift. For me personally, I've shot Mathews for the last 10 years. It has a pretty aggressive back end draw. There's like a big hump back there. And then it feels like the old monsters where it wants to come out of your hands. I think muscle memory over time can fix that. but right off the rip, you know, once I got back here to the shop, I shot my V3X a few times too, just to feel the difference in the draw cycle. And it is a much more aggressive, and it seems to me to be all in the back end. By far, I thought the Prime had the smoothest draw. It was just solid the whole way back, really good back wall. So that's kind of the feedback I've got. The Hoyt, again, they're known for their draw cycle, really good draw cycle. It was in the middle of speed, and it was definitely the loudest, which tends to be, for our testing, what we've seen over time is the Hoyt is a little louder. And we have actually found that the carbon bow is louder than the aluminum, and this was the aluminum bow. So all of them have got their pluses, all of them have got their minuses. So guys, hopefully you can use this information, go to your pro shop, get the bow, see which one you shoot better, and let us know. We'd love to hear your feedback. We appreciate it. That's the Mission Whitetail bow test, and we got a lot more coming the rest of this year. Thanks, guys.